Hey everybody, it's Chad and Nobody Else's Auto. We're here at the Wichita Swap Meet with our good friend Tom Allen. Tom, how you doing?
Doing good. Hello everybody.
Now, if you've been hanging out with us here on the channel, you guys are familiar with the American Oil Cans book that we've been using on Sunday night. Identification and Price Guide. Tom is the guy that did the book. You are the author, the photographer.
No, well, my wife did all the photography work, but yeah.
Okay.
The information's mine.
So we're spending a lot of time with this. We use it on Sunday night. We look up the cans that we're looking at on Sunday night. I know several of you have ordered these books for your own collections, and you do still have some available, correct, Tom?
I do, yep. It's
Okay.
still available.
So you actually put this together in the early 2000s.
Yep.
So the pricing is not correct anymore. Obviously, the oil collectible market has changed slightly over the last 20 years.
Definitely true, yeah.
And it's only gone one direction, that is not down.
Yeah.
However, the information you have in this book, the companies, the colors, the seams, the lids, all that stuff, invaluable information if you're collecting oil cans.
Yeah, it's very important to know some of that. Know if you're collecting and what era the can's from, and sometimes whether it's been relidded or not. That all affects the value, of course.
Oh, absolutely. So that's the great thing about this book. Now, you've got 1,100 cans in this book, which is kind of the tip of the iceberg for cans.
That's true, yeah.
So don't order this and expect to find every single can ever made in it, because that book would be about from here to the floor.
Yeah, it'd be an expensive book.
Yeah, you'd have to have truck freight and a forklift to deliver it. So.
Yeah.
However, this is an awesome reference, and it's got a ton of information in it. Now, obviously, 1,100 cans in alphabetized order and cross-referenced.
Yeah, because a company, an oil company will not always have, Amoco will sometimes have a can that's, a good example would be Pennzoil. You go to the P's, you're going to see a lot of Pennzoil cans, but they made a brand called Zero Oil. So that's another part of the book, so I've cross-referenced at the bottom of each page. So if you're collecting Pennzoil, you can also go to these other pages and they'll tell you where to go to find the rest of their products.
So all kinds of information like that, because some of these companies, didn't some of them also can for other brands or had other names on them?
Yeah, that did occasionally happen. Not that common, but it did happen.
So, which is there again, could be, say, refined by a common company, but a completely different name on it.
Yeah, that's true.
And you cover a lot of that in here.
Yes.
Which, if you see some weird name, you can look in here and you've got it referenced to the company that did it.
The PGCOA guide in the back will tell you some of that type of material.
So you've got that on here, PGCOA guide. And what does that all cover?
It's the Pennsylvania Grade Crude Oil Association, and that was an association that most oil companies belonged to, and they assigned them a membership number. And on earlier cans, a lot of the companies would include their PGCOA number.
Okay. And you've got that all documented in here.
Yeah, there wasn't a complete list known. I don't think there still is, but I put in there what I had found so far.
Well, and 100 years ago, there were, like car manufacturers, there was a couple thousand car manufacturers, and there was way more than that of oil companies.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that's, that list could go on forever.
Yeah. It's unknown exactly how many, I think.
So, and you also have grading and price guides, which obviously we know the price guides have changed dramatically, but you do have tips on how to grade cans based on condition.
Sure. And even though the prices are outdated, it's still, you can reference it compared to whether it's a $10 can or a $300 can. It gives you a comparison, so okay, it's not $300 anymore, but the $10 one's not going to be a $300 can.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a reference for a starting point that this is a much more rare, more valuable can, because it was years ago. So
yeah, that part hasn't really changed much.
So, which is also great. If you're looking at something and you're just not quite sure, you can always flip it. Well, this was a rare, valuable can back then. Probably still is.
Correct. Yeah.
So, let's go to open this thing up and take a look at it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Tom, let's open this thing up, and you can explain some of the details and some of the information that you put in this book for everybody.
Right. Well, starts off with how to use the book, because not always is it self-explanatory, so it gives a few tips on how to use it. And we have a history of cans and grading cans and pricing cans. It gives you a little insight on how to do that. And an important part of it is dating specific brands. I have some of the major brands and talks about when they started canning. It goes also into other tips for dating cans, like postal zones and zip codes, when those were used in different times, when the term refinery sealed was used.
All kinds of weird things like that you don't even think about.
Yeah, and those are all things that will help date a can roughly. Very few cans actually had a specific date on them, because they were canned for many years.
And nobody ever thought anybody would ever be thinking about this decades later and collecting them and putting them on their shelves. So.
Right, yeah, that never crossed their minds. And this is a page that has examples of various types of lids, just kind of when they were used.
And you've got that broke down even by some decades over here, different things to look for.
Yeah, that'll give you a clue, again, on the age of the can. And another way to do it is through the seams, how mechanically they were sealed when they created them, and that helped identify some dates roughly. My wife, who did the most work on the book, did a lot of touch-up on all the pictures in here, because a lot of the cans were not in great shape, and so she spent hours and hours making them look nice for the book. And that's a page for that. And this key tells about different codes I used for colors and can materials. And then this is a good example of each page. We'll have the text over on the left and the pictures on the right, and the cross-referencing is always at the bottom of the text page.
And what's great about this, and what we use this a lot for when we're looking at cans on the show, is it gives you all this information. Obviously the company, which is what you've got right on the front of the can to look at, the name of the brand, but then you tell the company maybe where it was refined at. You've got the colors, because obviously these things are old. There's been fading, discoloration. If they were sitting in a garage next to a window, the colors could be completely off, but you actually say these are the colors it should be. There's a lot of oranges that could look yellow today after fading.
Yeah, and oil itself, if it's on the can, can fade the paint over time.
Yeah, absolutely. The material it was made out of and the era. So you've got a lot of these by at least the era that you were able to research them to.
Yeah, that's an important part of it as well. And then on the right side, under each photo, I provided a little checkbox that if you're a collector and you're trying to get an example of each one, you can either put an X in it if you want, or if you're trying to grade them specifically, you can mention, okay, mine can's a 7, so you put a 7 in the box, and then you know, oh, I've got to upgrade that. The other thing you can note is these little 4s and 5s next to the checkbox. These are all quart cans that were photographed. When I was aware of a 4-quart or a 5-quart size, also, I put the little number beside the checkbox so that you could know that some people like to collect all the different sizes, and so I tried to add that as well.
Which is something important, because you can look at this book and say, oh, this is all quarts, but I've now found this and it's a much bigger can. Is this correct? Is it real? Well, you can look and see if you've referenced that a larger one was available, you've got that in there.
That's correct.
So you did an extremely thorough job in researching this thing.
We tried, yes. We really tried. Then in the very back of the book, you will see the Pennsylvania Great Crude Oil Association membership list. So sometimes this can even be handy for sign collectors, because if you have a sign that says XYZ Oil and you've never heard of that brand,
It may have at the bottom this Pennsylvania Crude Oil Association logo with a number. You could look in this book and say, oh, you know, I'd never heard of XYZ brand, but that's made by E.F. Houghton Company in Philadelphia. And that's the brand they use. So
Wow. You spent some time on this thing.
quite a few years we did to put this together, yes.
Well, it's a very impressive book. And I mean, I've had one for 10 or 12 years, and I just learned some more stuff today about it that I didn't even know.
Great.
So I think it was probably 10 or 12 years ago when we first met you, and the day we picked up this copy at the Lawrence swap meet from you. So
Probably so, yeah.
been a few days ago, but we've thoroughly enjoyed it. My daughter and I keep one in the truck at all times, and we check them off as we find them.
Great. Glad to hear it. Well, I hope everybody that gets one enjoys it.
Well, Tom, thanks for spending a few minutes with us. I know it's a swap meet, you're busy, lots of things going on, but like I said, I learned stuff about this book, and I've had it for 10 or 12 years of exactly how you laid it out and what some of this other information was. So that's awesome.
Well, I hope it was entertaining for people, and if you do decide you would like to order a copy, you can contact me at my business, and we can process it right over the phone.
So you can go ahead and give Tom a shout directly with the number. Order your own copy. It's outstanding. We've had a lot of fun with it here on the Nobody Show channel. We have a lot of fun with it on Sunday night, and there's a ton of great information in here. So, Tom, I know you're busy. I know there's a lot going on today. I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of this morning's time to go over some of this with us, explain a little bit about what you did, why you did, and some of the specifics about it. And we all learned something, which is awesome. That's the whole purpose of this.
Well, thanks for having me on, Chad.
So, all right. Stay tuned, everybody. Give Tom a call if you want to get your own copy. Check us out on Sunday night when we spend some time with this. We have a lot of fun with it and a ton of information. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned. A lot more cool old car stuff and memorabilia coming up. Tom, thank you for your time. Thanks for putting this book together. We all appreciate it. We will see you guys soon on the next video.
Take care.